Well, hello, ESPC community members. This is Christian Buckley, Microsoft MVP and RD with AvePoint, and I'm talking today with Ernie and Andrew from Nintex about using the Microsoft Graph to integrate into Teams. And so maybe let's start with basic introductions.
Hey, very quickly from my side, great to see you all. Andrew Murphy, I'm the VP of Solutions for Nintex in EMEA. Ernie, over to you.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Ernie Hayter and I'm a solutions engineer at Nintex.
Excellent. Well, let's jump right into that with question one. So Andrew, you were asked to integrate the Microsoft Graph into the Nintex Workflow Cloud. So what was the business case for that solution?
Yeah, really good question. We were looking to see how we can take some of the business applications that we build for customers, like claim handling, incidents and accidents, those sorts of things, which have quite a case management pattern behind them, and push those and surface them into Microsoft Teams. So a lot of our customers are now sitting in Microsoft Teams. They love the collaboration features that sit in Microsoft Teams. And a lot of our workflow apps provide the process and the structured data gathering behind that. We wanted to bring that case management collaboration capability into those applications. Now, there are some easy things you can do there, such as adding an NWC form into a particular tab inside of Teams, and you can have that assigned to a static team. But we wanted it to be quite dynamic. We wanted to be able to go and spin up channels automatically, play around with the private channels so that we could restrict users that had access to content, and really give a dynamic interaction capability there, as well as, and I think Ernie will talk about it later, as well as do some of the tidy up as well. So we all know, hey, if you're dynamically spinning up Teams assets, at some point in time, you need to clean that stuff up so you don't get that team sprawl. So that was sort of the business case that we were looking to answer. And it turned out to be pretty interesting. Now, I handed that story primarily over to Ernie to try and figure out. He then did a great job on that. So well done, Ernie.
What is the process like of building that out?
So initially, the whole, as Murph said, the whole idea behind this whole process is just really getting that collaboration going. And I think that one of the biggest challenges for us was, as Murph said, is just wrapping our heads around how to kind of make sense out of all of this clutter, like having too many channels or too many messages flying around in Teams is counterproductive against our use case in the first place. So I think just starting off really small, just send out a message to a team, just kind of letting everyone know this is where we're at in our process at the moment, and kind of building from that momentum on kind of gave us more ideas and more grip as to how we can actually make this into one bigger cohesive business use case that we can actually scale in the long term.
And Ernie, I think on the process side, what sort of, if we think about it technically, what was kind of cool is that you've got the Graph API that sits there, and then in NWC you've got the ability to write extensions, and extensions enables you to connect and bring that extra capability of the Graph API into the Nintex platform, which then gives people like me who are not the devs anymore the ability to go and drag into our design canvas to say, hey, I need to go and create a team. I need someone to collaborate, and then it goes and creates a site for me, a channel for me. I need it to be these members, and then goes and permissions it up. I need to allocate a task out to people, and then it's posting in that cool adaptive card stuff you did in order to go and give someone a notification in the channel to go and play with. So really that, being able to do the technical plumbing and then passing that off to say, okay, there's the technical plumbing. Now you as the sort of empowered business user, go and build the application. And then for me to be able to see that sort of lighting up. And then of course, sort of going through the dev cycles quite rapidly, playing around with, oh, that didn't work, oh, that did work. And where Ernie, I really did press the right button. Where's my channel, buddy? What's going on? And some of the discovery that we had along the way was a lot of fun. But for me, that whole process of you writing the extension, me being able to build it, and us both being able to then go and see what it looks like, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the biggest perks that I enjoyed about working with the Microsoft Graph API is having the power in the back end to be able to really easily kind of incorporate this into third-party software such as Nintex, and then for it to be easily palatable for the end user as well. I really enjoyed just the versatility of using the Microsoft Graph. If I can't use it in NWC, I can use Power Automate to kind of bridge that gap. And if I can't use Power Automate, I can use some third-party web API to kind of integrate with the rest. So it makes it really a versatile tool as well.
Nice. What did you think about only when you were figuring out the sort of documentation side of it? Was that pretty easy? Or did you just not sleep as we went through? Because you seem to do it pretty quick.
I actually found it quite easy ramp up. The biggest game changer for me was the Microsoft Graph Explorer. So Microsoft Graph or Microsoft provides you with an API explorer that you can use. You just log in using your user, and you can basically just test each one of the endpoints, almost similar to a tool like Postman. And I think that in itself just really provided me as a developer a platform to just quickly learn how to use the Graph API and what are the small little nuances, the headers that I need to add. And another nice feature about the whole Graph Explorer was the permissions, the API permissions that you need are right there. It gives you the list. You just need to go and add that onto your directory application, and Bob's your uncle. It just works.
So for question two, and because I know it sounds like everything ran perfectly, worked first, worked right the first time. So what question two? What kinds of challenges did you experience along the way?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely nothing went wrong. As with any software, as with any software project. No, I have to say that as Murph has already rightly said, I think one of the biggest concerns for us was just the cleanup of all of it, and it can get quite full of clutter if you're creating a separate channel for each one of your engagements or your claims, if you want to call it those. For me, that was one of the biggest challenges, to kind of wrap my head around how to approach this in a way that will make sense to an end user, and also not tie up the front end as well. So doing things like archiving these channels once one of our inspections are done, having to go and create an archive using NWC DocGen to create a little chat log so that you have the paper trail of everything that you've done in the channel, and then you can go and delete it. That was quite a challenging hurdle to get around, especially with some of the limitations on the Microsoft Graph API, such as you can only have 30 private channels within a team. So how do you kind of bridge that? So we're kind of spinning off separate teams once we hit that limitation, which is not ideal. So we're constantly having to kind of reevaluate the way that we approach this. So I think looking towards the future as well, which we'll obviously cover a little bit later, is just how we can work towards having less of these type of limitations, or kind of empower the developers to be able to find more eloquent solutions to these types of things. So that was one of the biggest challenges for me. There are some technical debts still surrounding the Microsoft Graph API, which I would have loved for it to be solved by the time that we finish the project. So unfortunately, sometimes not all of the endpoints would do exactly what you wanted to do. But I guess this is the nature of the beast, and that's why I really enjoyed using NWC with this, because I feel like you can, because of the enablement that Microsoft Graph kind of gives you, you can actually leverage external software to kind of bridge the gaps that there still are in Microsoft, and even the gaps that there might be in NWC, you can bridge with Power Automate. So there's this dual play between the different systems that's really exciting for me at the moment. I'm looking forward to see what we can do in the future with this.
Well, that's a good segue to question number 3 is, where would you like to take it next? But besides providing your feedback of the limitations of the platform, make sure, anybody that's using this, if you run into like that 30 private channels limit, let Microsoft know so that we can get enough of us there so that we can see change, get that hopefully expanded. But what would you like to see next in the platform?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I'd really like to be able to play around with this slightly more, kind of incorporate some sort of AI into our approach, being able to kind of look at our workload trends in our solution. Specifically, we're looking at inspectors, assigning inspectors to do health and safety inspections. So just being able to see, well, this inspector is really responsive this time of the day, or so let's kind of have that inspector on that site at that time, or just see which group is the most responsive to reacting to these inspections, kind of using AI and machine learning to be able to kind of just do this workload allocation. That's something that really excites me, and I'm looking forward to being able to kind of explore these ideas as well. I One thing that I didn't mention earlier that I really liked about this whole process was playing with the adaptive cards within Teams. That's something that I wasn't aware of before this whole project started, and it just opened up my mind, and I just want to use it for everything now. And I love the fact that you have actionable tasks in Outlook as well, which are very similar to the adaptive cards. So I still haven't used those, so I'm looking forward to actually being able to incorporate those into our processes. So yeah, I'm very excited about the prospect of using this platform and see where it takes me. So absolutely looking forward to it.
And for me, I mean, I'm very keen. Where does it go next? Is to take the great work that Ernie has done and push it out there so that people can have a look and get inspired by it a little bit. And that's not only the wider community, but also even inside of Nintex. We spent quite a bit of time doing internal evangelism, and then just seeing people's eyes light up to say, "Hey, these are things we never thought of doing with this platform." And then now they're sort of coming at us with all sorts of ideas that we're taking and putting on the famous backlog that will then prioritize what we get put in there. So there's some really fun stuff coming down the line.
Well, thank you to both you guys, Ernie and Andrew, for your time today. Thanks to Nintex for sponsoring ESPC, and for all of those that are watching, enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Cheers.